Hi, you're on the Bible Forum. Did you read anything this week about the Dead Sea Scrolls? You know, for the last 50, 80 years, they've been digging these out of the desert there in Israel and around. And archaeologists in Israel announced on Tuesday that dozens of Dead Sea Scroll fragments bearing biblical verses were discovered during a national archaeological operation in the Judean desert. The scroll fragments are written in Greek, and they feature portions of the books of the 12 minor prophets, including those of Zechariah and Nahum. They were retrieved from something called the Cave of Horror in the Judean desert. It's the first time in almost 60 years that an archaeological excavation has uncovered fragments of a biblical scroll. The parchment fragments were discovered as part of an operation launched by the Israeli Antiquities Authority in 2017 to prevent looting in the Judean desert. It's a case of we got to get there before they do. In addition to the scroll fragments, archaeologists also uncovered a cache of rare coins from the days of Simon Bar Kokhba that bear Jewish symbols, along with a 6,000-year-old partially mummified skeleton of a child wrapped in a cloth, and a large complete basket dating back 10,500 years, making it likely the oldest in the world. Keep in mind that dating is done by evolutionists who don't believe the Bible. They go back millions of years, tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, dinosaurs and all the rest of it. When you read about them, they're hundreds of thousands of years old. However, when they find some of these, they find that the skeletons aren't that old. Sorry. IAA Director Israel Hassan applauded the excavation team, saying the desert team showed exceptional courage, dedication, and devotion to purpose, rappelling down to caves located between heaven and earth, digging and sifting through them, enduring thick and suffocating dust, and returning with gifts of immeasurable worth for all of mankind. The Dead Sea Scrolls include the earliest known copies of the biblical texts and are therefore considered the most important archaeological discovery of the 20th century. ProphecyNewsWatch.com had a similar article. They say that for the first time in 60 years, new Dead Sea Scroll fragments have been discovered, and Israeli authorities are telling us that archaeologists will continue to carefully search the area to see if they can find more. This discovery was part of an Israeli government project to survey the caves of the Judean desert, recover the artifacts before the looters could get to them. 40 skeletons were found there during excavations in the 1960s. Some of the fragments are Greek translation of Zechariah 8, verses 16 and 17. Those verses read, "Therefore, or these are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates. And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. And love no false oath, for all these are things that I hate, saith the Lord." That'd be something to teach in our schools, some of these teenagers. Interestingly, instead of using the Greek word for gates, the Greek word for streets is used. The other scroll fragments that were found come from Nahum chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. Those passages say, "The mountains quake because of him," meaning God, "and the hills melt, the earth heaves before him, the world, and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his wrath? Who can resist his fury? His anger pours out like fire, and rocks are shattered because of him." Throughout the scriptures, we're told that if we follow God's ways and keep his commandments, we will be blessed. But if we reject his ways and his commandments, we will be cursed. Obviously, America has chosen the latter. And if we stay on this path, our story is not going to end well. Could it be possible that these Dead Sea Scroll fragments were hidden away for all these centuries just to be revealed at such a time as this? Stranger things have happened. What else is going to happen? All I can say is stay tuned.